Good evening, everybody. It's about 12:30 on the West Coast, and I'm getting ready to go into some stretches or asanas. And so let me just explain a little bit about this before we proceed. Through yoga, we're just kind of learning how to relax and live through our day-to-day lives as best that we're able to sort of coincide with the adventures of the day and how to relate to different people around you in a more centered way, shall we say, being more balanced. So yoga is all about balance, rest, relaxation, calmness, clarity of mind, speech, and action. So, all these things we sort of learn through the art of yoga, which has been around for centuries, for a long, long time. We learn how to cope with the daily stresses. So, anyways, I'm going to get right into it. We're going to start to breathe a little bit. And the most important thing is, of course, that you learn to listen to your body and what it's telling you to do. So, every day is a different day. Every day is a new experience, a new approach, a new way that your body is feeling, or the way that your mind is working. Every day is not the same. So many different interactions out there and different stimuli that are coming our way that we have to learn how to cope with all those things. And so yoga is really just about learning how to adapt, adjust, and accommodate. So that's really the definition or one of the main central points on what yoga is. So earlier today I was talking about the 5 points of yoga, and before we start, I'd like to just elaborate on those once again. So one of the best ways to do that, of course, so you kind of count on your fingers. So we go, there's 5 points of yoga. So there's 5 points. So the first one, of course, would be proper exercise. The next one would be proper breathing, sometimes known as pranayama. The next one would be known as proper diet. Okay, and the next one would be proper relaxation. And then the last one, of course, would be positive thinking. So there's 5 points, 5 aspects of yoga. And those are commonly known as the 5 points of yoga. So let's begin. And usually the way we always start a class is we go into the sukhasana pose, which is more formally or commonly known as the seated posture. So I will demonstrate these, and usually when I teach a class I don't demonstrate all of the postures in the trainings and in the teachings, and at least in the form of yoga that I do, it's best usually to demonstrate as less or the least amount as possible, because when you demonstrate, this is why I don't like to demonstrate so much, but I really have to in this situation, so really you can see what I'm doing, especially when it's on a camera and there's not that in-person kind of thing going on. So, but anyways, back to the original point. So usually I just kind of talk people through it, and that way it maintains a constant flow of communication, whereas it doesn't detract by starting to go into the pose or what have we. And then maybe a brief demonstration before I go into the pose. Anyway, so let's begin. And so we're going to go down into the seated pose. So without any further guidance here, let's let me just go down into this the first posture, the seated pose from Sukhasana, and we're going to start out by opening up the channels, or kind of stretching out, releasing the body and starting to open up the nerve channels, which we talked about before, which they're called the nadis. They're like invisible forces that go up through the body, which correspond to the all of the nerves, the physical nerves. So we have what's called an invisible nervous system, or spiritual, or sort of a soul nervous system. So in yoga they call that the nadis, or the invisible self, or what we call the astral body or soul body, or sometimes they call it the causal seed body. So let's just begin. So let's do some ohms. Let's start with, we have our hands on our knees and our fingers. So first of all, roll up your shoulders. So squinching your shoulders towards your ears. Take a breath. Inhale and exhale. So let your energy back out. And continue to breathe, and notice that you have your attention on your fingers, your thumb, middle finger, and index finger, all connecting each other. And so feel what that feels like to have all those fingers connected. At the same time, you feel your shoulders are moving down toward your yoga mat. I'm not on a yoga mat right now, and so let's continue to do this. So we're silencing the mind. If you notice thoughts that start to come in the mind, then just let them go through. Acknowledge them like you're watching a movie. And bring your attention back to your fingers. And continue to breathe. And letting go. And feel your body start to become more loose, more limber, more relaxed. If you get distracted by something, let it pass you on by as if it was just a temporary mirage or a vision or whatever it is, or a nagging thought that's been bothering you all day. Let it go. Acknowledge and say, oh, that's what it is. Okay. And then say goodbye to it. And then bring your attention back. So bring your attention back to your breath. As you take some deeper breaths. And breathing deeply. Breathe deep breaths. Letting go. Okay, so let's look over to our side. So we're looking over towards your left side. Chin is in line with the shoulder. And breathe. And look over to your right side. Keeping your back straight. So always keeping in mind that your back is straight. With that point in focus. A straight back promotes good posture and proper asanas. And really, in the Iyengar form of yoga, they really stress this much. This is a very foremost, integral part of Iyengar yoga, which is a very difficult form of yoga based on alignment. So we bring our hands back to center. Excuse me, we bring we bring our attention, and we are still looking forward, so bringing our chin and face back to forward facing, keeping relaxed in the shoulders. Notice how the neck and the shoulders and the solar plexus, everything is starting to relax. You're starting to feel a little bit more loose. So bring the chin on down toward your collarbone as we exhale. Deep breath, exhale. Lifting the chin up with your hands, putting them in prayer position. Giving your chin a nice little tilt to, this is good for your neck. So it keeps a more youthful appearance in the neck when you do this one a lot. And come back. And so you can do that exercise periodically throughout the day. So you give your neck and gives a nice sort of firmness to your neck area in the surrounding part of your facial structure. So as we continue to breathe, so let's grab one side of the head and tilt it over to your left as we breathe. Putting the hand, opposite hand on the other side of your head. Gently grab the other side of your head and tilt the head toward the other shoulder like this, very gently. And if that hurts, by the way, if that's too much, if your neck is very stiff, then maybe you don't want to do that. So again, listening to your body, and then come back to center. So never go beyond what you are feeling like you want to do, or that you're most important that your body wants to do. And breathe. And let's gently bring the hands behind you, rolling the shoulders back. Inhale, exhale, and release. And let's breathe forward so the hands are on the knees in Sukhasana as we put our hands in front of us and we stretch forward just slightly, so keeping our back straight. Again, once again, that back through the center of the back, through the small of the back, and through the upper part toward the shoulders, we are straight. Everything is in alignment. We stretch forward. Don't go forward so far that you have to round the back, which puts additional pressure on the back and the spine, and which is not good for that. So you always want to, so you might want to go up a little higher to modify the stretch so that the back stays straight. And if you're, of course, able to fold all the way forward, then with keeping the back straight, then you do so. So you always take a mindful approach of where your body is and what it's feeling like doing. So always paying attention to what your body is when you do. So coming back to center, take another breath and exhale. And so let's go up and rise and shine. So we're going to come up and we are going to go into Surya Namaskara, which is sometimes called the sun salutations. So I'm trying to see where my angle is here, if you're able to see exactly what I'm doing. So I'm always in kind of a different spot, and there's always a different camera perspective. So we'll hope that this works is right. So I'm going to demonstrate all of the positions of Surya Namaskara first, and then we're going to do just about 3 or 4 of them tonight. In addition, before I start to do this, the Surya Namaskara, the sun salutation position, and I mean the movements is like a vinyasa. which is more popular in the Ashtanga yoga, or what we call power yoga. So traditionally they always do this as they look to the east. So people, when we focus on in the morning is a good time to do this. We look to the east, to where the sun is rising. And so this is where we get our power from the sun, which enhances the sun salutation movements. So this is always, it's good to have the sun shining on you, but obviously we're in the late hours of the night and inside. So, but we're going to pretend. So usually what we do in yoga, we always kind of will, sometimes we can turn to the right, or depending on where the sun is located, if we're doing this outside, we can look straight ahead and stay in the same central position that we were in when we did Sukhasana. So let's begin. So we'll turn to, in this case, so I can properly demonstrate it more effectively, I'm going to turn to the side. So the first position, we inhale, lift the hands up, bring them into prayer position, and take a breath. And keeping the arms alongside, we inhale the arms up alongside the ears. And you can see that my hands, we try to get the arms as straight as possible. Take a breath, and we exhale forward. And we step the right foot back, and as we breathe, keeping the knee right over the foot, and the other leg back, and come down, and let's come into Bhujangasana. Keeping the shoulders down. And then we come up into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Heels are down in the back. And once again, we bring that other foot in between the hands. Again, the same foot that we stepped down with. The back knee is reciting on the floor. About 90 degrees is the back leg, knee bent on the ground, and the front knee is 90 degrees over the foot, so directly over the foot. Now let's bring both feet back together as we're in Uttanasana, the ragdoll pose, and then we come up as we inhale, lifting up and exhaling down. So that's one complete movement of Surya Namaskara, the sun salutation. And let's do one more. So once again, so take a few moments. So we'll go a little slower this time. The next time we do this, we'll go a little faster and more of a faster vinyasa. So hands into prayer position. Inhale up, arms alongside the ears. You probably can't see the tops of my hands here because we don't have the camera. It's not adjusted high enough, but that's okay. So your fingers are pointing up. You are integrating or bringing that energy into the body. And we exhale down. And so now we're going to step back with the opposite foot that we did the first time. We're going to step back with the left foot. So, and as we breathe, we bring the knee down. Excuse me, let's go back up. I think I miss a pose? I think I missed part of this. We come back up, and you might have just stayed down, you didn't get back up. Okay, so we go back into the forward bend once again, and then we step back. I don't know if I did that. Okay, all right. So we step back with the opposite leg. And as we breathe, come back. And we come down onto the floor on our stomach. This is kind of modified. You can do this much quicker, and we'll show you how to do that later without lying all the way down on the floor. We're coming into Bhujangasana, the cobra. Looking up, shoulders are down, shoulders are relaxed. Try to keep your pelvis on the floor as much as possible. I'm a little stiff in that area, so I'm kind of unable to do that tonight. And let's go into, as we exhale, into Adho Mukha Svanasana, the downward facing dog. Looking back at our feet, heels are touching down toward the floor, evenly spaced apart. The shoulders are relaxed. Take a few breaths. Trying to keep the heels down and back is essential in this posture so that we maintain an even alignment. Trying to push the navel toward the knees. Feeling that energy activating your core muscles, activating your legs. The energy, you're feeling a stretch in the calves. And let's once again take a breath, step forward with the same leg that we went back with. Inhale and breathe. And let's come up. Head toward the knees. Maybe bend the knees to take pressure off your back. And inhale as we come up, 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 up. Inhale, arms alongside the ears. Arms alongside the ears. Exhale and release. Okay, so we just did 2 movements, and I think that's good for now. So usually we do in sun salutation, usually do about repeat about 4 times, maybe 5 times, maybe even 7 times, depends on how strong you are. And every day is a different day. In a yoga class, you're probably not drinking coffee in the middle of your routine. This is just so I'm staying awake tonight. So, so that's not part of the routine, but it is for me right now. So it's keeping me alert. I want to make sure and get all this in so that most definitely don't leave anything out. So all of these postures, it's very crucial that you try to get in all of the movements at the right time. But you may not want to do all of the movements. So again, it's adapted, just accommodate. Some of the time you may just want to do maybe 1 or 2 of those movements to accommodate the way you're feeling. If your back is feeling a little stiff, for instance, you may just want to not go into the cobra position. You may just want to go into a down dog or the downward facing dog, and you may want to bypass the cobra. So it depends on how you're feeling. Everything is listen to your body, listen to the way your body feels, listen to your body first. So that's really the root elements of yoga, or becoming more advanced, as the more you learn to focus on what you're able to do, and you're hearing what your body's telling you, you're feeling the impulses within the body that is telling you not to do this at this time. So many people, they try to do too much just to show that they can do it. And hey, I kept up with the instructor, and I want to show everybody that I'm the best in the class. I want to sit up or do, and I've seen these people in a lot of my classes, and that's okay if they want to do that. But just remember that, when you do too much at one time, it's easier to strain yourself, or and then the body won't feel so good. You might feel a little stiff in the hip or something, or you might pull a little bit too much. That's not good for your body. So as long as you're listening and you're being mindful of each posture within the element of your routine, then you're paying closer attention, and you're keeping everything smoother and everything staying healthy and calm, and it's much more beneficial. So it's always good to take a rest between postures. Usually Not this, I'm explaining things, so this is okay, we're going a little bit longer, usually about maybe 45 seconds, maybe 15 to, I'd say in the realm of 40 seconds between each pose. Give the body a chance to rehabilitate and recuperate before we go into the next asana. So let's turn around to let's turn to your right. So this would be your right. It's my left, it would be your right. So we're turning to the right. Arms are up. We're going to go into trikonasana. This is the next pose I'm going to demonstrate. And we're going to take a few breaths. This is formerly called the triangle. The right foot is out at 90 degrees. Your hands are out, evenly stretched. Fingers, can't really see what I'm doing here. The back foot is pointed in 45 degrees toward the front foot. And as we exhale down into trikonasana, bring the hand down, resting gently on the leg, keeping both legs straight and active. Very important, keeping the legs straight as we try to coax that hand down toward our ankle. We look up to the fingers on the hand, looking up toward the sky, keeping a straight line between where the fingers are on top to all the way to the foot down below, feeling the connection between your back heel and your foot in the ground, so you're firmly connected with your feet on your yoga mat, if you have a yoga mat right now. Continue to breathe, so everything is active here, the body is very active in trikonasana. Rule of thumb, always about 5 breaths. We're going a little bit longer here. If you need to come up sooner, then come up. And coming up as we inhale up and exhale. So usually always on the descend, it's an inhale, or on the lift, it's the inhale. On the descent, and when we come out toward the end of the pose, it's the exhale into the posture. So it's always lift, inhale, exhale as we move into it. So it's kind of like the yin and the yang. And again, everything in yoga is based on Ida and Pingala. Ida, the cool, Pingala, the hot. So the lifting is, I would equate with Pingala, and the exhaling maybe would be going toward Ida, which is the moon. Pingala is the sun. So let's turn over to the opposite side. Foot out at 90 degrees. Feet are shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit further depending on how far you think you should put your feet apart. What feels comfortable for you. Arms up into airplane fashion as we exhale to the side and descend once again. Continue the breath flow, lifting the arm up as high as you can. Looking toward the fingers, keeping the arm in a straight line as if you had a ruler all the way against your fingers, all the way down to through your chest, all the way down to your hips. Everything is in a straight line, in straight, complete alignment here. And as we're becoming very active in our core muscles, we're feeling the energy moving through our body by keeping everything straight, we're allowing that energy to flow through it. And you can really feel this if you're fully stretched. And believe me, you may not be so flexible that you can do all this. So just come, you might just want to not even lift the hand up, just come down a little bit like this, toward the legs. So remember, you don't have to do everything like I do it. Only do what you're doing at the time. So again, so the final portion of that stretch would have been this. So maybe you might have just been like here, or maybe you were just like here, just coming down a little bit. So never have to go too far. Even if you don't even feel that you can do hardly anything, maybe you just want to stay out of the pose and just stretch a little bit down. It depends wherever you are in your practice. So, okay, so let's come back and take a few breaths to rest in between this posture. And so tonight we're just going to do, I believe about maybe 2 or 3 more poses. So I'm going to keep this class, should be about 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes. So we'll see where it goes. We're taking a few breaths. And so yoga is all about being quiet in the moment. So we're not having that big energy output. We're not trying to be at top of the class and the most energetic and person in the world here that's doing cartwheels around the stage, and so that's not what yoga is all about. Yoga is getting into the state of the now and the nothingness and the universal flow of things. So you're right in tune with nature. Right in tune. It's best to have a quiet environment. And if you need to take a break, and then you always feel free just to sit down to take a break. You don't have to, just because I'm saying to do that, we're going to do this now, doesn't mean that you necessarily should do that. It depends on what you are wanting to do at this particular time. So let's go into the next pose, which we call, and this one is kind of funny because the other night on the Sunday class, I missed this posture. So this was the what we call padottanasana. So I think it's sometimes called the pyramid pose, or the kind of like a side stretch. So let's go into this one right now. We're going to do the modified version. Later on, I'll show you the more advanced variations of that. And so, again, this can be done in a vinyasa-like fashion. So, if we were doing, as we're taking a little bit longer of a break, you can just watch me here. So a vinyasa flow would be more like this. We're coming up, and this is how I do yoga a lot, just to speed things up when I don't have time. And take your breath up. And coming down into the next pose. Inhale. And as we move back, we come back up, and then we go into the padottanasana, and we come back up, and then kind of coming back in, switching over to the other side, and then we kind of go into this one here, take a couple breaths, and we come into this one here, take another breath. So this is more of the vinyasa flow. Okay, so here we are back again. And we're going to go into padottanasana. Foot out to the side, 90 degrees, back foot in, 45 degrees. So you'll be going to your right side from here. And so we adjust our hips. So take your hands on your hips and move your hips center over your feet. So kind of a little hip adjustment. So make sure everything is in proper alignment, proper straightward forward motion. So we're facing straight. So we want to keep those hips in alignment with the legs. Both legs are straight and active, about shoulder width apart. Back foot is pointed slightly into the pose, about 45 degrees. Your hands resting on the leg, and this is a modified approach. So we come down as we exhale. Bring the hands, keeping the arms relaxed toward the feet, and breathe. Couple breaths more. And inhale, come up, and down. Relax, take a couple breaths. So again, we're resting between postures. In Shivananda yoga, they actually do recommend resting between each posture. In a lot of the Western culture, yoga, or the way they do it in the West, they don't usually, they tend to go more directly, flow from one to the other. So I do feel that the best way is to let the body relax, rejuvenate, recuperate, recover before going into the next pose. Gives the body a chance to, like a get ready time. So let's turn around to our left side, which would be the opposite side. So hot and cold, everything is side to side, balance, everything's smooth. One side to the other, balance, left and right, hot and cold, cold and hot. a lot than less. So everything it has two sides to it in yoga. So once again, arms up, inhale, inhale up, and exhale forward. Resting hands gently as we keep legs straight, stretching down toward our thigh, which will be our quadricep. And as we look down toward, which would be the bottom portion of our leg, toward our toes, keeping our shoulders relaxed as we look toward that knee, keeping the back leg active. Both feet are flat, heel touching in the back, front toe, you can feel your front toes connecting, looking toward your toes. As we continue the breath, remember, keep that back foot in about 45 degrees. Keep the front heel in line with the back arch. So be mindful of where your feet are at this time. And continue the breath. If you need to come up sooner, then please do so. As we inhale, lifting up. Inhale, exhaling down. And we're going to do 2 more poses here, I think, tonight. And then we're going to finish with savasana, shavasana. Some people say it differently. So let's do one. I think tonight I'm not going to demonstrate prasarita, but I'm going to go. We're going to move into maybe the warrior might be a better pose for tonight. So there is that system of, they do, one pose, it's usually like the triangle, then prasarita, then padottanasana, then prasarita, then prasarita padottanasana. So that's usually the flow in the Ashtanga. We're very close to that. So we're going to bypass that a little bit just to move through this video a little quicker. That's just kind of the way I'm feeling right now. If you feel that you wanted to go into prasarita, which is the side stretch all the way, you can do that. And it's this one right here. I'm just going to demonstrate it real quickly. I'll go into depth at a later date on that one. But it's kind of looks like this if you wanted to do that before we go into this next stretch. So up. So let's just go. We're going to go into Viradrasana 1. Let's demonstrate Warrior 1 tonight. So this pose right here is essentially the warrior is exactly what it says. It's the warrior. It's the strength enhancing pose or posture, which brings an inordinate amount of energy into the body. It's one of the strongest poses in yoga, a very essential posture, which is a crucial pose. And if you don't do anything else at all during the day, you might want to do this one, or definitely you might want to do the triangle as the other very strength building posture and youth restoring posture, the Trikonasana. So, but we're going to demonstrate. I'm going to demonstrate the warrior first. So, in the warrior, we bend the front knee, and just watch me first as I bend the front knee over the foot, and once again, the hips are in alignment with the lower part of our body, and the knee is directly over the foot. And the back leg is straight, the back heel is touching, and we inhale up. Hands are together, arms alongside the ear. We look up toward the hands. Really activating the core muscles, you can feel that. The back foot is firmly connected with the floor or your yoga mat. You're looking up toward the fingers. Your arms, very important to keep them alongside the ear if you can. Maybe you can't look up to your hands, so you just keep the head looking forward. And you relax. So once again, let's try that. So if you didn't do it the first time, let's do it now. So coming up, 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 inhale, and breathe. Exhale down. Rest. Let's take a few breaths. And let's turn around to the opposite side. Take a couple more breaths. Maybe you feel you need to go a little bit faster, and you can do so by jumping ahead of me a little bit if you'd like. Okay, so let's go to the other side, twisting around to the, that would be your left side. Bring the knee down, back leg straight, front knee directly over the foot, back foot pointed 45 degrees into the front foot, the back arch in a straight line with the front heel. And as we lift up, lifting the arms up alongside the ears, back foot firmly touching your yoga mat as we look toward the hand, arms are alongside, continue the breath, nice and active here. Let's take a few breaths. You can really feel that energy, and this is, you get a lot of exercise too in this. Really, you're working the body very nicely in yoga. Even you don't even have to, if you just did yoga without lifting weights or anything else, it does an abundance of good for the body. If you did yoga every day, it would keep you young. Yoga is very youth restoring. It keeps you, rejuvenates the youth, especially Salamba Sarvangasana, the shoulder stand, and Shishasana, which would be the shoulders, the headstand. As we get into that later, I don't usually like to demonstrate the headstand. It can be a very dangerous posture. Like I was telling you before, when in some of the trainings, in the Shivananda trainings and the Hatha training, they go into headstand, the very first pose. I was telling this in the morning, when we first went out on the wooden platform every morning at 8 o'clock, usually 8:30, the very first posture was Shishasana, the shoulder stand, the headstand. Why are they doing the headstand first? It's like you're not even ready to do that. You're not even, you're stiff, the body, they don't even, I'm wondering, why is this the very first thing they do? They do a few breaths and everything in the seated pose, and they go into headstand first. So I believe I inquired about that. I asked the teacher at the time about that, and they said the reason for doing that is because it gets the body stimulated, and it prepares the body for the rest of the way into the whole rest of the class, into the whole practice for that morning. So there was some sort of effect that going into the headstand first gets the body going. So it gets all of the nerves. It opens up the connections. It starts the circulation going. And anyways, that's the way they do it. That's not necessarily the way I advocate doing things. I usually, if at all, I would do the headstand last. But we're not even there yet, and I do not recommend doing headstand unless you're very advanced and you feel that you're ready to do that. So that may take, some people go through their whole lives without doing the headstand or the handstand. So these can be very dangerous poses if it's not done correctly. So always approach this very carefully, and if you are going to learn how to do the headstand, always seek a qualified instructor. So make sure that wherever you're taking your yoga class, that your instructor is very qualified, and you're coming from the right place, and then also that you're ready to do this. So approach it very carefully. So let's go into the last pose, prasarita, padottanasana for today, and then maybe we'll do some final relaxation. So let's turn to the side. How can I demonstrate this the best here? Okay, so we come up, and let's just bend forward. And today we're just going to bend forward, resting our hands on our legs. Feet are wide apart, and just bend forward a little bit. Let the hands down, keeping the back straight. This is a very modified approach today, because this is, I'll show you the more advanced variations later. Legs are both straight, feet apart wide, and we continue the breath, about 5 breaths. And then let's come up and let's just finish this out. Lifting up, 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 up. And relax. Okay. So with that in mind, I'm not going to go into the Vriksasana, the tree pose today. I'm going to demonstrate the tree pose in several days from now, or maybe a couple days, for balance. Today I'm feeling like it's time just to go into Shavasana. So let's take a few, let me see. Okay, so let's go and find a place to lie down, usually on your yoga mat, of course. It's better to lie on a yoga mat than the floor. There's a lot of bacteria on the floor and what have we, so it's always good to have a yoga mat during your class. So I think you can see me from this vantage point. So let's just relax. Let's go and lay all the way down, flat on our back, and this is Shavasana. Savasana. And let's just lay down and relax. Let's take about, we'll just lay down for about a little bit of time here. Arms alongside the side. And rest and relax. Letting go. Trying to relax from the bottoms of your feet to the top of your head. So one by one, the feet, relaxing the toes, relaxing the legs, relaxing the hips. Feel your lower back connecting with the ground. So feeling the small of your back, pushing that back. Or just letting it go as much as possible. Relaxing the back, letting it connect as we move up to the chest. Letting the backs of the shoulders connect with your yoga mat. Feeling a total connection with the ground as we're letting the ground, the element of the earth, support us as we let the body go. Letting go, let the mind be still. Trying to clear the mind and we just rest. Everything is just blank. Let go. Forgetting about everything or what you're going to do later today or whatever. Just for these few moments. Observing your thoughts. Watching the monkey mind go back and forth, let it go. Try to clear your mind of all thinking. And you can take as much time as you want in this posture, sometimes maybe even up to 5-10 minutes even. Today we're just going to move a little quicker so we can come out. Let's turn over to the right side. Resting your head on your hands. And then let's come up. Okay, so coming up back into seated posture. I'm going to come back up a little closer so you can see what I'm doing, and let's finish with a few ohms. So always proper relaxation. Remember, I stressed the 5 points of yoga. Very important, probably the most important posture in yoga. Most people don't realize this. The savasana is the most important, and the heart, believe it or not, sometimes the hardest posture for people to do. I don't know why that is. It's just hard for people to relax sometimes, and people get bored and they think they shouldn't be bored and they should be doing stuff. So it's exactly the opposite approach of what the Western philosophy is. The true yoga is the Eastern philosophy, is where it came from. So it's the relaxation, the rejuvenation is the most important part, and where we really get our true benefits from the practice of yoga. Yoga is a very powerful exercise. It's really how I look at yoga as an exercise. It's not. Shouldn't necessarily have to be some people do take it to the extreme of the religious or the spiritual belief system of, and they get really into that, and that's okay. As a Christian, so I do this more for the benefit of the exercise is the approach. Although I teach all the aspects that I have learned in yoga as applied to and for the body, the physical body. So let's do a couple ohms, and then we will end this night, and then move on into the next day. It's already the next day for a lot of you, and for me it's about 1:45, it looks like. Let's begin with an om. Remember the A begins in the Muladhara chakra, which is the base chakra, and the base notes. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me tonight. Have a beautiful day tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow with another message. I don't know what it will be. And if by chance I don't see you tomorrow, then I will certainly see you the next day. So have a great night. And I hope that you were able to get something from this. Let me know in the comments section if you were able to, or you have any questions about any of these postures. And be sure to tap that like button if you liked it. And have a good night.